I had such an outstanding response from my first video about 5 backpacking meals. I decided to make another. Thank you for everyone who watched it. So here I present 5 more backpacking meals. First one up is chicken noodle soup. What you need for this is a chicken packet, a bouillon cube, and a Frontier chicken noodle soup mix. I just recently found these soup mixes and they're really good. What's nice about them is they have like a freeze-dried vegetable, so it's really light, except for your noodles are a little bit heavy. Now this is not a meal that is a low fuel source. It takes about 20 minutes to make. So the first thing you do is you add your chicken bouillon cube to the water. And then the packet of soup is divided into your vegetables and your noodles. And then you have a spice mix along with your vegetables. So you put that in the water and you boil that or simmer it. You just need to bring it to a boil for about 10 minutes. Add your noodles for another 10 minutes and then add your chicken to it. There's nothing like homemade chicken noodle soup when you're out on the trail, particularly if it's in the fall where it's a little bit cooler at night. This soup is so good and it's so hearty. It's really my go-to meal now. I try to take this whenever I go, some form of the soup. Next up is a make-ahead pasta salad. The ingredients for this is a suddenly salad mix, a packet of salad dressing, and optional for olives. You can put chicken in there, you can put pepperoni in there too. I'm sure everyone has seen the Suddenly pasta salads. They have all kinds of different flavors. What I normally do is I will make this before I leave camp in the morning because I already normally have my stove out, and I just boiled the noodles while everything is already out. And then I can have it ready for lunch when I get to lunch a little bit later. So I'll boil my noodles for the allotted time and then put them in a freezer bag. Normally I let them cool off a little bit. And then I'll hike for, until noon or whatever, and then add my other ingredients. You don't want to add it in too early or else everything will get soggy. So they normally have like a seasoning and a crouton mix, and then you can add your salad dressing. I normally would use Italian, but at this particular time I picked up the wrong one. And this is a Thousand Island, but it still worked. So then you just mix everything together, mix it all together, and then you have lunch there. And it's super easy. You don't have to drag out your stove when you're resting for lunch. Just makes it a lot easier. Next up is a stoveless fish tacos. The ingredients for this is ramen noodles, which are raw, they're not cooked. I'll explain a little bit later, with almonds if you want. A tuna or salmon packet, lettuce if you have it, tartar sauce, and a tortilla shell. I make fish tacos quite a bit at home, and when I do, I use a coleslaw mix along with ramen noodles that I toast in the oven with some almonds. I just happened to have some that I had already toasted, so I brought them on this trip, but you don't need to toast them if you don't want to. It just adds a little bit more to it, and you don't need to add the almonds either. So this is super simple. You just throw everything together on a tortilla shell. And if you have lettuce, great. If you don't, that's okay too. Just something a little bit different, but the ramen noodles really add the extra crunch to it. I like the crunch of the ramen noodles. Whoa, there's a squirrel over there. The next one is a spicy bean tortilla. The ingredients for this is the instant bean dip, where I got this off of Amazon, tortilla shell, and egg and spam. If you want to make it like a breakfast burrito, you can do that too. I could make about 5 different meals with this bean dip here. The bean dip is freeze-dried, so you don't need to have a stove to cook this. You can just cold soak this if you want to. You need a little bit more time, of course, to do it. Otherwise, you just add water to it and let it set for a little bit. The bean dip is really spicy, which makes it really good. On this particular morning, I had eggs and spam with it. I kind of went a little bit overboard, but you can just have bean dip with a tortilla, just like how it's shown here. I use freezer bags quite a bit because they can withstand the heat. And so I cook oatmeal in there, I cook my bean dip in there, I cook quite a bit of other mashed potatoes, that stuffing, that sort of stuff, because it can withstand the heat, but it has to be a freezer bag, not just a regular bag. And then it makes it a lot easier to clean up. I actually made this bean soup one time, and I kind of put that in quotes because it wasn't supposed to be, but I accidentally put too much water in it. So it actually made a really good bean soup. You could have this like with Fritos or like chips or something like that, and kind of make a dip out of it too. So that bean dip is really, really versatile. Next up is pesto pizza. What you need for this is a pesto tube, string cheese, tortilla shell, Parmesan cheese, which is optional, and olive oil. Here I showed using like a quote pizza crust that you would get at Walmart. You don't really want to use that because it didn't come out very well. Those pizza crusts are made to bake, not to fry. So I would recommend just using a tortilla shell. You can also do this as a wrap too. And so this is the pesto paste that I used that I got from Walmart. So you just put your tortilla shell down and then you squirt your pesto on it. If you've never had pesto before, pesto is like one of the best unknown foods in the universe. It looks really gross, but it's really good. So just take your pesto and spread it on your tortilla. And then take your string cheese and just kind of cut it up in chunks. And then just let it set and let it just kind of let the cheese melt. You're really basically heating up the cheese. I understand that a lot of people won't want to drag a frying pan with them when they're backpacking. And I don't bring it all the time, but when I do, I really enjoy the extra diversity that I'm able to cook. I think one of my favorite parts of backpacking is actually cooking and kind of figuring out what I can do on the trail to make the food a little bit better, just a little bit more fun. What's really good about this pesto too is you're probably going to have some left over, and pesto is really good for lunch. You can just throw it on some crackers if you want. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my video.